So first thing I'd like to do is I'd like ask everybody to do something that you're never going to hear another speaker say, and that's take your cell phone out and put it on the table. I want to see everybody's cell phone. Awesome. Well, you know, there are a lot of things we talked about last night that Kevin brought up. And one of the things I want to start with by saying is he talked about being passionate about a product. And I completely and totally agree with that. I think if you're not passionate about your product, you're never going to convince somebody else to get engaged with it. But I'm going to add one more thing to that. I'm going to say, when you look at your product, look at a product that's universal. If you brought out a new product that was for a 1973 Pinto, I don't think you guys would do very well. However, if you brought out something that everybody here is using, I think you'd have a pretty good chance of success. So I'm going to ask you, everybody in the room, hold up your cell phone. Somebody take a picture of that? Okay. Now I'm going to ask everybody who doesn't have one, hold up your hand. Is there anybody out here that doesn't have a cell phone? Anyone? Is there one? What are you doing here? Seriously, we're going to help you with that. We're going to help you with that a lot. So when we look at a product, we look for something that's universal. Let's take a look at the market just in the United States. And unfortunately, for those of you who are in the room from the international market, mobility isn't going to be, the mobile portion of it is only going to be released in the United States and Puerto Rico to start. But I've got something that I think you guys are really going to like. So let's look at the market as a whole. What does mobile mean just in the United States? And when we look at the opportunity, we understand two words that we use in our industry a lot, and that's scale and penetration. So let's look at the scale. How big is that market? Well, in the United States, anybody know how many people there are without reading the screen? Roughly 320 million people. You know how many cell phones there are? You guys can all read. Either that or you're really good. There's 350 million cell phones in the United States. So if you figure that everybody in the United States over the age of 10 has at least one, there are a lot of people out there with 2 or 3 devices. I know for me, I have 3. I have 2 cell phones and an iPad, so that counts as 3 devices. So when you look at the market, scale's as big as you can get in the United States. There are no products in the United States that have better penetration except for electricity and water. If you go to some parts of this country, they don't have either of those, but I guarantee you they have a cell phone. The other part of that is let's look at the world market. Let's take a look at, for the people who are outside this room, and how we connect everybody to it. Your mobile phone has become the de facto device that you use to communicate everywhere. You use it as an internet device, so it takes the place of your computer. You use it as a communication device, both to talk to people, and now the latest thing is text. Everybody texts. I tell my office, don't call me, text me, because I can look down, I can read exactly what you want, and I can continue on with my day. If it's something I have to respond to, I can respond to that, but otherwise, I can just go on about my day. So when we look at that, we want to look at what we've done and what Telex has done to really expand beyond just the VoIP product. When they started out with that one product and grew in amazingly quick fashion, I mean, you really have to take a look at that and say that was one product. It was VoIP. Now you're taking that and saying, what can we do to expand on that offering? What's the next step, the next generation? And I have to tell you guys, I've been fortunate enough to be part of the discussions for these products, and I will tell you that Carlos and Jim and Steve and Joe and everybody else are amazing visionaries. They saw the future, and they've jumped on it full force. So I get the extreme pleasure of standing here and telling you guys about the latest products that are coming from Telex. The first one you're going to see is the mobile app. TelexAPP is going to be available to you guys in iOS and Android to start. The Microsoft platform will be coming a little bit later. But the beautiful thing about that product is it's worldwide. Everywhere you go, that product's going to be available, and you'll be able to communicate with your customers, with your friends, and everything else. A couple of things that have occurred in the news recently, I don't know how much you guys keep track of it. There's 2 apps that have been out there for a while. One's called WhatsApp. The other's called Viber. Is anybody familiar with those guys? Anybody use them? Who likes it? Great. Just so you know, last Friday, Viber was sold for $900 million. A lot of you guys know it made the news. WhatsApp was sold Tuesday to Facebook for, technically it's $19 billion. So, and just as a number to help you talk about, we talk about scale and market penetration. You know, lost the thought there. WhatsApp adds 1 million new users a day. They have 450 million users in the worldwide, 1 million a day. So it's a massive, massive opportunity. The Telex app that you guys are going to see, it's going to capitalize on that. And I don't know, Is the automation included in this? As I said, it's available to you guys in iOS and in Android. The cool thing about it is if you watch the screen now, it's going to download all your contacts. So you immediately know everybody's there. I found Amber. I can make a phone call to Amber from my device using the Telex 99 product. So we now have the ability to call worldwide using your Telex 99. We've taken that product and moved it off of your computer and taken it with you everywhere you go. And we'll get to the mobility portion of that in a minute. But the cool thing about this is you can now call using that, just like you can with Viber or with WhatsApp. It's going to be using your Telex 99 account. So the important thing you need to know is if you're going to be a TelexAPP user, you have to be a Telex promoter. So it is part of the requirement. But once you're in there, you can talk. You can SMS, which is text message. You can MMS to each other, which is picture message. You can do some other cool things. I can send a text message. I can receive that text message. I can send a picture, and the coolest thing of all is I can send a video, all through your system. The other cool thing, and I know it's hard for you guys to see on the screen, but on the bottom it says red. So I now get an acknowledgement to know that whenever I sent it to my friend Amber, she actually watched my video. Now all these features are getting ready to be released. Here we're making a phone call through the mobile app. And again, this is available on 95% of the world's phones, are either iOS or Android. So it's available almost universally, and it's available completely worldwide. It's going to be loaded into the Android store, I believe, next week. iOS takes a little bit longer because Apple's slow on everything, but it will be available to you guys very, very quickly. Now, the first question you're going to ask, and forgive me, I didn't answer when we were part of the panel, the first question you're going to ask is, when's it available? The release date for this is March 1st. So that's coming very, very quickly. I know you guys are looking for some new products. That app alone will dramatically increase the ability to sell. The other beautiful thing about this is it allows you guys now to communicate with your downline. You can set up, I think as you saw there, you can set up a directory so that you can push one SMS, one MMS, one picture mail, one video out to the entire downline team easily and quickly. Let me talk a little bit about the difference between postpaid and prepaid when it comes to the wireless world. Here in the United States, traditionally the market's been all postpaid, which means in the eyes of the carrier, you paid for your service after you used it. The reality is you've always paid for it ahead of time. You just pay the next month's bill, on your bill. Prepaid came to the United States about 4 years ago. It was a revolutionary concept that the carriers themselves really didn't like because they were charging you astronomical sums of money for service. Part of that's because they spend tons of money sponsoring race cars, tons of money, promoting ads. You can't watch a TV show without seeing at least 5 T-Mobile ads or AT&T ads, and you're paying for all that. But a lot of especially the Latin community came to the United States where the rest of the world is all prepaid. You don't get to use a phone unless you pay for your minutes ahead of time. So with the rise of prepaid, especially through the Latin community, it really began to take hold. In 2009, a couple of percent of the entire market was actually prepaid. In 2013, 35% of the market is prepaid. So what that relates to you guys is that of that 350 million phones out there, there are approximately 115 million people already using prepaid service. And I'll ask you guys in this room, if you'll hold up your hand, how many of you guys are on a prepaid service? Okay, so probably less than 35% in this market. So great, we have even more opportunity here. The other interesting statistic is that every month, 18 million people's contracts expire. So there's an opportunity to convert those guys. So when you look at scale, again, and you look at penetration, you have a massive market. Every month you have the opportunity of about 135 million people, million phone numbers to convert over. When you want to talk about our program, I'll make it very simple for you. When Carlos sat down and said, we want a program that's best in class, we said, okay, the only way to really accomplish that is to have all 4 carriers. So an interesting statistic for you guys, no matter what carrier service you're on in the United States, it runs on all 4 of those networks. You're either on T-Mobile's network, AT&T, Verizon, or Sprint. Don't care what they call it, don't care what they say it is. Those are the only 4 networks. What we've been able to do is actually put all 4 carriers in one place. You'll have the ability to sell service from all 4 of those carriers. The next thing is your service is going to be best in class. We use the same service, the same switches, the same voice towers, the same SMS, the same picture messaging, the same data plans that everybody uses. What we try to do is construct plans that are very, very similar to what the carriers are offering. So you'll see our plans look a lot like what you can get from T-Mobile, AT&T, or any one of the other prepaid guys that happen to be out there. The other thing you need to know is that prepaid has really hit mainstream. If you look back 2 years ago, there was no carrier, meaning of Verizon or AT&T or Sprint, actually promoting prepaid. It was kind of a dirty little secret. Now you see Verizon is out there. T-Mobile has gotten rid of contracts as a whole. And if anybody wants to really drill into what the ads they say, what they really mean, the carriers are not your friends. They're not offering you great deals on service or devices or anything else. They're there to hook you and get you on to be a gerbil on a treadmill and never get you off. Our programs are simple. If you don't like my service, in 30 days, you don't have to stay on it. Port your number, go to whoever you want. The difference is, no matter where you go, you're going to end up on the same service that I can sell you. So as a promoter, the one thing you want to look at is, who can I sell this to? Every single person with a cell phone. Either they're about to expire under a contract, or they're already not on contract. So you can turn those guys over to us anytime you want. You can take, in the vast majority of situations, you can take the same phone you have in front of you, and in about 10 minutes, I can turn that on to our service. Whether it's Verizon, whether it's Sprint, T-Mobile, or AT&T. T-Mobile and AT&T service require SIM cards. The gentleman back there asked about SIM cards, and if you want to ask that question now, would be a great time. But SIM cards require us to ship you a SIM card. You'll get it in the mail in about 2 days. There's great instructions in order to basically take your old SIM card out, put your new SIM card in, light up your phone, and away you go. Everything that we have done, understanding the concerns, because I meet promoters every day from Telex. They all walk up to me and say, hey, when is this going to happen? We don't get customer support or all these other things. I want you guys to know that Telex listens. They all know and are working very, very, very diligently to manage your customer service needs. We have our own call center that will handle overflow. We have tier 2 support, just like carriers do. But we've done everything we possibly can to make the experience as easy for you as your customer, for you and your customer as it can be. We have instructional videos. Here's how you do it. They're going to be on YouTube with links. Everyone will have those links. So you can sit down and piece by piece walk through and activate that phone. We want to make it as simple as possible. Everybody's trying to do that. We've invested the time, the effort, and the resources to do that up front. The other thing we're doing is brand management. We're going to have a very clear, concise message for you guys. And the message is, you can't use carrier logos. Okay? You can't use the Sprint logo, the T-Mobile logo, or anything else. And Kevin made a wonderful slide yesterday. Unfortunately, it wasn't part of my presentation today. But that'll be out to you guys to show you exactly what you can use. But again, the brand message is, it's very simple. I can convert your service. It's prepaid. If you don't like it, don't pay your bill next month and port your number and go wherever you like. We just can't use the carrier logos, and you guys will all be fine. As I think it was LJ alluded to a little bit earlier, we follow the same thing. The carriers are going to come down on us if we're not promoting this in the proper way. So I ask every single one of you in the room to police your team. And if you see something, just let us know. We're not going to come down and say, oh my gosh, we're not the police here. We want to make certain that we bring that person, we help teach them the correct message, get them on track so that the plan runs smoothly. So your participation will be greatly appreciated. I mentioned all 4 carriers. We have unlimited talk. We have unlimited text. We have data plans that range from 1 gig up to unlimited. And the coolest thing of all is we've been able to do something that no one else can do. To the gentleman over there who asked about it, your TelexFREE 99 accounts can all be integrated onto our mobile service. You can pick up your Verizon phone and call anywhere in the world with no dialing. Yes, ma'am. I can't hear you once. If you want to. You cannot put the carrier logos there, but you can put Telex. The question was, can you open a store and put TelexMoble on it? Yes, you can. And that is linked. That is not a condition on us. The conditions on us are you can't use the carrier's logos. And for God's sakes, don't put it next to a T-Mobile store. I mean, they're everywhere, I know, but just as you have world-class service, you have all 4 carriers. You can make this an amazing, amazing program for you. We just always say, just don't poke the dragon. The other thing I wanted to tell you guys that I didn't touch on is hardware. Everybody wants to know about that. You need an iPhone 5S? No problem. You need a Note 3? We have them. We are literally the only carrier that I know of that's not a carrier that is called an MVNO, Mobile Virtual Network Operator. They can offer you guys Note 3s. They can offer you guys iPhone 5Ss. They can offer you guys all the cutting-edge hardware. There are some exceptions. Certain carriers won't let us do certain things, so you need to be cognizant of that. But other than that, it's carrier-class service. To the lady back there. Price points? Price points are in line with markets. You're going to find that if you want to go buy an unlocked iPhone 5S, and I probably can't quote you off, it's going to be $670, maybe, give or take. You don't pay sales tax unless you're in Nevada, because we ship everything from here. So those of you who are anywhere else, we can ship them anywhere in the world. So if you want an iPhone 5S to the gentleman who's from Africa or some of the other people I met, we can do that. And we check prices constantly. We're extremely competitive with Amazon. And if you price it against an iPhone store and you include your sales tax, we're cheaper. The gentleman right there had his hand up. For the most part, yes. AT&T and T-Mobile are 4G. AT&T is releasing LTE to us second half of the year. Sprint is their 4G, which is AT&T is technically called HSPA Plus, which is their fast version of 4G. LTE will be available from AT&T second half of this year. Verizon's told us LTE second half of the year, which traditionally means July 1st. T-Mobile is currently offering 4G LTE, depending on where you're at. And the biggest thing, guys, the biggest thing you need to be concerned about, people ask that all the time, if I'm on 3G, I'm not getting as fast a service. Well, I can tell you unequivocally, because so many new devices are LTE, that the 3G network has virtually no traffic on it. And you can do a speed test and take a look at it. Traditionally, you can get 5 meg up, 5 meg down on 3G, which is fast enough to stream videos anywhere that you would need to. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Well, there's a number of options, and I'll go through that. The gentleman's question was, if I currently have a prepaid Verizon 3G phone and I want to bring it over to your service, would I just pick the same service on your plan? There's a lot of questions, and I won't bore you guys with it. There'll be some things that we're releasing. But if you have a SIM card-based phone, that would be an AT&T or T-Mobile type phone. They have SIM cards in them. You can very easily unlock those phones and move them from one carrier to the other. When you start talking about Sprint and Verizon, it gets much trickier because those devices are traditionally built with the handset, with a chipset that only works on that carrier. So if you said, I have a Verizon 3G phone, I want to bring it to the TelexMoble network, absolutely. You can port your number. I can do that in typically about 15 minutes. I can do it in front of you, and then your service is good to go. There's a couple questions. I do want to interject one thing before I answer. The gentleman's had his hand up back there. Our services are coming online. I know everybody wants to know a release date, and I'll get to you in just a second too, sir. Everybody wants to know a release date. Just so you know, the first carrier is completely done. You can call ILD anywhere in the world. We've tested it with Carlos and everybody. They've all seen the service. The second carriers, when I was in Boston last week, we got the final testing approvals from them. They'll be coming online this week, and we're waiting for one more carrier to complete their final testing. We got news Friday that they're in final test. So the service itself is all going to be completely built out here in the next few weeks. There's some integration, some questions that I know you guys are going to ask about compensation and things like that are being worked out that are not part of our program, but I can speak just slightly about it. But all those things are going to be done. You're looking at a Q2 release, which is technically April 1. I can tell you that my best guess, and I will say this is Todd's comment, this is not the TelexFREE official stance, but it'll be in April. I'm extremely confident of that. May not be April 1, but it will be in April. So, and then the gentleman right over there had his hand up for a long time. Okay? We have our own customer service. Your starting point is going to be TelexFREE, and then you'll be directed from TelexFREE directly into our portal with our customer service people. We have Tier 1, Tier 2 level, carrier level support. You can do live chat that'll be available. So we have... That's a good question. First month for customers is going to be credit card, simply because the carriers require a verification process that we have to go through. After that, my understanding, and I'm going to preface this, guys, because I know there's 50 cameras running. My understanding is that they're working on a system where after the first month, you'll be able to pay with your mobile wallet. And your back office money. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Okay. Gentleman right here. $4,000 a month. But it's got a great commission. Our plans are competitive. I will tell you, we're never going to be the least expensive guy out there, but you have to make a choice. And I always tell people, I'll ask you the question, how many people in here are currently selling phones and making money on them? Hold up your hands. How many people? There's a guy back there. What do you do for a living, sir? You live in Dubai? Okay. Does it work as a roaming service? Is that your question? Currently, we're limited to the United States and Puerto Rico. But international is our next step, and it will be country by country. To go back to your question real quickly, does anybody here happen to work with a company called Solvay? Okay, how many guys actually make money on Solvay versus just save a little money on your bill? Little, that's exactly right. This is a commissionable product for you guys. I can't tell you what the commissions are, but the commissions, when it gets down to price versus lowest cost versus commissions, you have two opposing fields of thought. You're going to make money on your cell phones. Every cell phone you sell is a commissionable item. Huh? Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. Yeah. But this is the only program out there that you guys will actually be able to do that. Question right there. Where do you travel? No, that's typically the U.S. carriers have restrictions on that. So this is the domestic program. It's going to be United States and Puerto Rico only. So when you get to Mexico, all you do is take your SIM card out and buy a local SIM card. But you can use Wi-Fi and use your mobile app. That's the beauty of it. We've actually taken a program that's U.S. only and made it worldwide. So all you do is connect to Wi-Fi so you don't incur all the data charges. Connect to Wi-Fi, dial out through your mobile app. Call anybody you want who's a TelexAPP user. But our prices start at unlimited talk and text on all 4 carriers and go up to unlimited talk, text, data, and ILD. So you'll have a program that combines all four of those programs, or all 4 of those elements into one plan, one price, one carrier. Which is what? Starting at $35. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry? The maximum price is, I believe, $130 for unlimited talk, text, data, and ILD on Verizon. It's going to be the most expensive plan. They asked the most expensive price. The highest price plan that we offer, and I want to double check the number exactly, but unlimited talk, text, data, and ILD on Verizon for $130 a month. Which, if you think about it, can I indulge for 1 minute? Okay. The one thing you guys need to think about when you start figuring out who your market is, and this is, perhaps I should have done this a little earlier, but I got sidetracked. Every one of you guys are currently paying a phone bill, correct? Nobody gets their phone service for free. So all you're asking your customers to do, all you're asking yourselves to do, is convert to a service now that is currently an expense and turn it into an opportunity. Every one of you will become your own customers, and it's a product you use every day. Your friends, your family, everybody you know uses a cell phone. And now you've got something they can look at and immediately benchmark and say, wow, Doug, this really is a great plan. I'm not paying any more, and I can have the opportunity to earn money on this if I become a Telex promoter. So you're not going to have resistance. I'm not asking you guys to go out and buy a pallet of toothpaste every month. I'm asking you to take dollars that you're currently spending, convert them into dollars that you can use to maintain your status as a promoter or as a customer. Can't go anywhere after that. If you have any questions, guys, I'll be available in back. Please feel free to come back and talk to me. I really want to thank you for your time. I went way, way, way over my time limit, but I will be available for anybody who has any specific questions. And thank you again for your time.